Hello, I'd like to welcome you to our RapidValue presentation today. I'm going to give you a quick overview of the RapidValue tool and how we use it in implementations at Columbus. As you can see here, I'm within AX right now, and if I click on the RapidValue menu item, you'll see that the RapidValue menu structure is embedded inside of AX. This is a software add-on to AX that is truly part of AX. It leverages Microsoft Visio and the AX database to create a presentation layer. We've broken it down into a couple of different solution groups. The first solution group is called our business solutions. As you can see here, these are the solutions we've created for each of our verticals. And the vertical I'm going to focus on today, as I go through this demonstration, is our engineer to order vertical. Okay, and I can quickly show you that. You can see the kind of the layout of the high-level processes. In addition to having the business versions, when we work with you as a customer, we will actually create a customer-specific solution. And here you can see an example of that customer-specific solution, which is our engineer-to-order solution copied into a version for your implementation. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to go in and open that up. And the first thing I'm going to show you is how we can take that software model, or that process model, and start to layer on the implementation strategy and process and organization, and how we map that through the entire implementation of AX. So the first time I'm going to show you here is the strategy model. So against our engineer-to-order customer model, this is where I have the ability to map a mission statement for the project. Why are we doing this project? What are really the overarching goals we're trying to hit here? And then also map those explicit goals, like this example here: increase the win rate, introduce new products faster, improve customer satisfaction. Whatever it is that you have that's unique to your business, how can we help you solve that? And then against those goals, we have the ability then to map metrics. A good example here is we've got introduce new products faster. The metrics we've come up with to manage that is, did you improve your time to market? Because if you're doing it faster, you should be able, from concept to shipment, you should be faster at that. And you can put an objective in there. So in our example here in this database is, maybe you improve your time to market to 9 months on a standard product, and maybe 24 months on some kind of a new product item or innovative product launch. So these are examples of some of the things you can do. You really need to tailor this to your business, but the tool is there to make that happen. Okay. So now I'm going to go back here and I'm going to click on the goal map. And the goal map is now taking what I just showed you there at a high level and taking all of those goals, and we've already pre-mapped at a starting point where we believe the business processes would align to those goals. And I'm going to scroll down here and show you an example of that. So as I scroll down through the page here, one example I just found here is in design, plan resources for detailed design. If I hover my mouse over this, you can see that we mapped reduce operating costs to that. We also mapped reduce working capital, and we put reason statements for those. These are items during the implementation you would work with your team to map in how best your goals map to the process definitions. So now I'm going to go back to the process side and turn off my show detail. As you can see, I can toggle back and forth between detail and summary, but I'm going to show the scope. This is a data element that I've already pre-created, but I've gone through and I've done a scope mapping, and it will take these items that are listed out here as part of the solution. It will dim the ones that are not shown in scope. So when you look here on the screen, you can now see that it looks like about 9 items have popped out of the in scope and moved out of scope. If I click here on this next button called Show Gaps, this is where I can show if we've marked something as a gap, whether it has a problem or not. And you'll see the example here is that under Develop Proposal, I've marked a gap, and the gap is actually against complete cost estimates. Back up here to presentation, we can also show now, based on those mappings and based on what's done here, what degree of fit is there. And you can see that area here within sales, which is part of that proposal piece, we're actually only at a 67% overall degree of fit. This is something that will get tailored as you go through your implementation and as you answer items and within the gap fit analysis and get that all solved. Okay? So now I'm going to go back up here to my implementation tab. I've only been focused so far on the solution tab. Within implementation, I can actually go through there, since I know I have gaps, and I can publish a document. The document I'm going to publish here is called a gap analysis. So when I hit this button here, it actually is going to generate a Word document that will show the details of the gaps we've defined. Now, if you see here on the screen, as I scroll down through this, you'll see we found 3 gaps. We found that we needed to add a version to the estimation table, we need to add margin calculations, and we also need to add workflow approval, and the details of those are defined here within this document. So you can see the write-up that the consultants did is actually attached within this document that can be passed over. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is going to go back here to the Solution tab again, and I'm going to go under Processes, and I'm going to go to here, and I'm going to go in to actually look at my processes again, and I'm going to go into the actual activity. So I'm going to go into Plan Build, and I'm going to go into Define Engineering Controlled Item, and you can see here now we're actually starting to show you some of the content within AX, within RapidValue. This content is the actual process flow that is actually linked within the code. So you can see when I hover my mouse through this process here, I actually get some context-sensitive help and information. You'll see here that I've got a little icon for AX. You'll see here I've got an icon for ADM, which is our add-on product, and so on and so forth. This flow allows you also to have subflows. So if I click here and launch into it, I'm actually looking at a lower level flow, and so on and so on. So the content allows to go very wide and also very deep at the same time. But I want to go back here real quickly and just show you that within this area here, if I go into Create Engineering Controlled Item and I click on this, this is tailorable to your situation. So we're bringing you what we determine to be the best practice, but in no means are we expecting this to be the exact practice you use. You have the ability within this detail to modify and edit and change these additional work instruction steps. So this is really critical during the implementation that we work in collaboration to build this out specifically for you. Okay? So I'm going to close this back down. I'm going to go back out of here. I'm going to go back into my customer solution, and I'm going to go look at more documentation that can be generated. So I only showed you the one. We have the ability to generate a lot of other documents. Here's an example of what's called a flow specification. And this document here is for our process for defining an item. This is the entire work instruction to go through the process to define that item. And you'll see the example here. Here's the actual flow, and here's all the text write-ups and all the screen samples to how to get through that. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is stop for a second and kind of summarize on where we're at. So we've been able to show you that we can take your solution that we're going to implement for you. We can map a strategy to it. We can actually map the organizational pieces to it, and we have the ability to set and manage scope. Okay. What I'm going to do now is go a little deeper into how we kind of manage it from a project team level and how you use this tool. So the first thing you have is you have your ability to create a solution. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here to my menu, and I'm going to go back into the solution section, and I'm going to go into my customer solution. So if I wanted to create a new customer solution, I just click here, New, and I have the ability to copy from an existing solution and bring that over. Very easy to do. You know, the technique is not difficult, and it brings over all the content that would have been in the base. You can also use this to do variants on your rollouts. Okay. Strategy, as you see here in the strategy section, this is really critical for your company to go through here and make these determinations on what your goals are and how you want to track them so that you can have success with this product. The processes, if I go back in here to my menu, I showed you at a high level kind of how they come together. There are components that make that up. We have the ability to define an activity for any kind of an event that happens within your business. And here you'll see we have hundreds and hundreds of these activities in here already that are predefined, that already have, as you can see down here, the help information and the work instruction text assigned. And in addition, those activities get mapped into a layer here called a flow. And the flow is that definition of how the information comes together. When you look at the presentation of that, you'll see here's the Visio-like representation. And then those flows then map to a process. So it is a very hierarchical system that allows you lots of reuse of common componentry and the ability to quickly leverage the content. Okay. One example I'm going to show you here that I didn't show earlier is the ability to go find and define a gap within the tool. So in order to assess a gap for an item, I'm going to take you into this part of the process here where I've got the item that's been marked as a gap. I'm going to click on Analyze Gaps, and this takes me into the items that I've actually marked as a gap, and it allows me to add requirements against those gaps. So you can see here where I've done my messaging here, where I put in my requirements, And this is where we can just add additional text that a consultant or an end user can come into the section and make edits and changes to this. So finally, the real power of this is that once you've done all this work and you've defined your processes and you've got it all made up to where you know it is the solution you want to have, you can actually publish this to the Microsoft Help folder. So if I expand this back out and I click on Publish Help, I have the ability to take all of this content and push it into the Microsoft Help layer. And I have an example of that I've already run because I don't want to tie up this thing here with the process, but as I pull this up here, you'll see I've got engineer to order help. And if I click on this and I drill down through the help section and I go down into the build item here, you'll see, once I get to the right screen here, that I have the ability within define engineering controlled items to show you the actual content that was also in RapidValue, that was in the process specification, is now actually embedded inside your help file. So this allows you to see that detail and to be able to leverage this within your business as part of your ongoing help. So the last item I want to go through here now is really just shows how we do process definitions. So I'm going to go back here one last time. I'm going to go back into the main menu of AX, and I'm going to go under Activities. Okay. So once I'm in an activity, so even if I just go through here and I'm going to find it based on the word enterprise. So I'm going to actually just click up here and do enterprise, because I'd like to find that item for creating an item number and defining enterprise level data. I can click on this and I can click edit, and this takes me into an edit screen that allows me to manage the content of this activity. So you'll see here we've got a nice description that kind of explains what the activity is about, and then we have a procedure that explains how to do that activity within AX and within your business. So within this activity, if we want to make a change or an edit to this, you have the ability to either edit it manually and walk through these steps and change these steps, or you can actually call upon the AX task recorder to record new steps and replace these steps. So it's a really powerful option here within the ability to manage the activity. In addition to looking at activities, like I mentioned earlier, you have the ability to look at the processes as well. So if I click on processes and go into my process side of it here, I can go through here and I'm going to go find the one here for define item. So I'm going to type this in, define item. Okay. And here's my define item process, and just like in that, I can edit that and add any additional content or information I need to give that gives clarifying information for the process. And finally, just like I had showed earlier, the other component of these is the flows. Same situation. I can go into the flows, I can find a specific flow, and in this case, I'm going to find the define item flow for this as well. And I'm in that flow now, and if I click on edit, I have the ability to edit the text content of that, so I can put additional descriptions and object and items around that. Or if I need to actually edit the flow, I can click on the design button, and that will launch an instance of Visio inside of AX to allow you to actually edit that flow. So it's and you can see here, it is Visio. So if you're a user that's used to using Visio, you can very easily drag and drop and place the items that you need and manipulate them. So a very easy tool, very simple to work with, very fast getting people up to speed on, and hopefully you see value in this and you've enjoyed the presentation. Thank you very much.